guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be filming another episode of the Lunar podcast, and I know this isn't our normal location. I decided to film this on a whim and I didn't feel like setting anything up, so I hope you guys are okay with the casual setup here. I'm also using my front camera on my phone today. Usually I use the back, so I'm sorry if I look at myself a lot instead of the lens. I'm going to try to be very good and cautious of not doing that, but who knows? So if you guys are new here, my name is Lori and I am your host of the Lunar podcast. You can find me all over the internet at Lunar by Lori. I am located in Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my husband Adam and my two dogs, who you might hear every once in a while. Sorry about that. But it has been so gloomy here this past week in Columbus, and that is why I currently look like this. I am a dog walker during the daytime, and rain equals mud, so it was a very muddy day for me. So I hopped in the shower and then I decided that I wanted to film a podcast. So currently wearing Adam's shirt, wet hair, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about yarn, does it? Before I get started on our yarn adventures for today, I just wanted to let you guys know I did go ahead and make a dog walking Instagram. If you like seeing pictures of dogs or you want to know more about the dog walking lifestyle, you can follow me on Instagram at Lori the Dog Walker. You can also find me on Instagram if you only want to know about the yarn stuff as Lunar by Lori. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started with today's episode. So I'm sorry if the lighting keeps going in and out too. I try to fix that a little bit, but with the front camera, it's really hard. I don't know, and especially with this angle, since I have the window behind me, I think that might be blowing it out a little bit. But regardless, you guys are still gonna see the yarn stuff just fine. So I've been pretty busy. I think my last podcast was like 3 weeks ago, so I think I'm a little behind my normal schedule that I've been trying to keep. But I have put up a video of, if you guys saw my last video, I went to the Knit Picks warehouse sale and got a lot of good yarn goodies. I'm not going to be sharing any of those in this video, but you can go check out that last video if you like seeing what people buy yarn-wise and the good deals that I got. I still can't wait to cast on all those things, and you'll see today that I don't have a lot of progress to show you. I do have 2 finished items and just a couple of works in progresses, but that doesn't mean I haven't been knitting. I knit pretty monogamously, whatever. I've been knitting on my Novelli top pretty consistently, and I did get it finished. So we're just gonna go ahead and hop right into finished objects. So I don't physically have that item here with me, but I did go ahead and film a clip for you guys before I sent the item back to Jen from Lane and Lotus. If you guys saw my last podcast episode, you know that I was sample knitting the Novelli by Caitlin Hunter for Jen, and I did finish that. So I'm going to go ahead and insert that clip here. Hey guys, it's Lori from the past, and it's a little late so I look crazy, but I just took off my Novelli tee from the blocking mat. It's all dry and blocked out, and I just had to show you guys before I sent it off to its new home with the yarn dyer who dyed the gorgeous yarn, Lane and Lotus, or Jen, if you will. Okay, so I will say that this was a pretty frustrating knit for me. I ended up not wanting to work on it anymore after I had to frog back about 20 rows. So I don't remember exactly where it was whenever I showed you guys last, but I think I put a few more rows on it from there. I think I got to about here or so, halfway through with the color work, and then I decided that I was going to frog it because I didn't like the tension that I had, and my floats were loose, and it needed to be perfect because this is a sample knit for somebody else. So I just did it. I put in a lifeline where the ribbing is because I did not want to cast on that many stitches anymore, and I just frogged back from there, and then I had to start all over the color work, and it was terrible. So doing the color work twice was not the best, but here it is. It turned out really great. I knit the size 4. Jen wanted me to knit the size 4, so that is what I did. I believe this pattern calls for 13 inches of positive ease or something. I don't know. So this is the 48-inch circumference, and everything on this is completely to the schematics of Caitlin Hunter's Novelli tee pattern. If I didn't mention, this is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. It's called the Novelli tee, and it's gorgeous. Like, look at the way this fits. Like, it's so good. And the sleeves are double lined, so it's really cool effect there. I will say it does make them flare out a little bit. I was worried about that, but I went back and looked at Caitlin's pictures, and hers do the same thing, so it actually is pretty cute like that, to be honest. And this neckline is my favorite part. It just shows off your décolleté really well. I think that's sexy, and it's like still covered. And it's such a light gauge that you could totally wear this like on a cooler summer day, which is really nice. I did go up a needle size or a couple of needle sizes. I am a very tight knitter, but I used my like needles. So they're wooden needles, so I have a looser gauge with wooden needles, I find. So I used a 4mm, and I was able to attain the gauge that Caitlin suggested, but I did have to be very conscious about keeping my stitches loose because, like I said, I'm a very tight knitter. But I didn't want to go up a needle size because I thought it would make it way too holy. And I will say, with Caitlin's gauge, things can tend to be a little bit see-through, but it's honestly, like, I don't think you can see through this right now, so it's cool. And the back is exactly the same as the front, so it doesn't really matter which way you wear it, I don't think, because it's exactly the same. Also, I did change a few things that the pattern said. The pattern has you switch to the ribbing needles when you split for the armholes. I didn't do that because, like I said, I'm a very tight knitter, and that didn't make any sense to me, so I just opted out of doing that. I also don't think I used the ribbing. No, I did not use the ribbing needles for the ribbing up here either because I didn't want it to be too tight. But I did use the ribbing needles for the hem here, so it did tighten everything up. I tried it on before I put the collar on, and this was very loose, but as soon as I put it on, it just fits exactly how you would want it to fit. I don't think there's anything else I changed about the pattern. Oh, I used Japanese short rows instead of the wrap and turn. I really like Japanese short rows. They're the easiest for me. I don't get any holes, and that's that. It does have a 3-needle bind off here, which looks so nice. I love it. It's so clean and it's beautiful. And I did not alternate skeins in the top section. It did take one entire skein from the color work all the way into the ribbing. I was able to cast off the body. You don't really cast off the body, you 3-needle bind off. I was able to do that, and then I used the second skein that I had for the neckline and the sleeves, so I had quite a bit of blue left over for the size 4. So you do need just over 1 skein, which can kind of be annoying because I think I had like 93 grams left, but you know, you can use that for a different project. Or you can get like a 50-gram skein to go with it if you're trying to make, I would say you could probably get like 2 sizes up from this with 2 skeins. Don't hold me to that though. But yeah, here's the color work up close. It's very pretty. And here are my floats. They turned out really nice. And I did a little flashier floats Friday on my Instagram page, so you might have seen that if you follow me on there. It does kind of get baggy here. Again, this is not the size that I would make for myself personally. I am very petite. I am 5'1" and about 115 pounds, so this is what the size 4 looks like on me. My bust size is about a 34 to a 36, depending on the day, I suppose. So if you are curious about that and what size you should make, I would honestly go down like 1 size for myself. This is just a bit too oversized, but I think it's gonna look fantastic on Jen. So I hope she likes it, and I hope my quality is what she was hoping for. I had a lot of fun in the end, like making it, and the result of it was totally worth it. I think it would have been more fun if I didn't have to rip back the ribbing, but you gotta do what you gotta do, and I got it done. I think this took me a little less than a month. I'm gonna go with 3 weeks. I think it took me about 3 weeks. I have been going through some personal things, so I've been a little slower than normal knitting on something that's for somebody else, but here we are. It's finished. I'm sending this back to her tomorrow, and I just wanted to show you guys. I did block it out to the schematic size, but I did not aggressively have to do that at all. I think I was just like 2 inches shorter on the width of it. Naturally, with blocking though, you will get growth if you're using superwash, so I was not worried at all. And as soon as I took it out of the bath and I like dried it off a little bit and I laid it out, it was pretty much the appropriate size, so I just pinned it down. Not aggressively at all. I only pinned like the sleeves open, to the right size, and then I pinned the neckline just slightly, just one pin on each side. And then I pinned the entire bottom part right above the ribbing. I never pin ribbing because you kind of want that to suck back in. And then I put 2 water bottles, one on each side. That way you didn't get a seam from it laying out. But as you can see, I have quite a bit of positive ease. Oh, it's gorgeous, you guys. Just look at that pattern. Kaylin Hunter has done it again for sure. And I'm so glad that Jen allowed me to knit this for her because it was just a great experience. And I know that it's going to go to a home that is going to show it off. And that just makes you feel good. People are going to see it. She's going to enjoy it. And she's going to get to wear it. And I love that. It's her yarn. And she's finally going to get to like hold like a piece made by somebody with her yarn, and I think that's really cool. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. So the colorways, if you're curious, they're all by just a really deep navy. I will say this color bled a ton in the water. It didn't necessarily bleed in the water when I was blocking it, but when I went to squeeze it out, it was bleeding everywhere. Like, it got all over my countersink and everything, but I totally expected that to happen because naturally with a very deep blue dye like this, or a deep dye, anything that's dark, I don't know if you can color out right away. So to compensate for that, I did I did soak it in really cold water. That way it wouldn't affect any of the other colors.